Hello, hello. This is Jean here. We are with another episode of Dance Gems, and today it is actually part two of Who Are the Dance Gems. And of course, the part one was interviewing me, and so part two obviously is interviewing my friend and colleague from the Netherlands, Ton Greten. Let's see if he is there. Hey, Ton, welcome in your own podcast because we are going to interview you today. How are you?
Yeah, thank you, Sean. Yeah, I'm very well, and I'm happy to be there in our podcast.
Yes,
So,
let's start. We are the Dance Jams, and we like to introduce ourselves a little bit. And we decided to do that by interviewing ourselves. And this is part two. So if you haven't seen part one, you can go back and look that up. But today it is all about Ton Greten. All right, Ton, I prepared a few questions, but don't be afraid to deviate from it if that is necessary. But what about starting with, give me who is Ton Greten in less than 5 sentences?
okay, Sean, that's very short, but anyway, my name is Ton, and actually Anton, but Ton. I'm 60 years old, next year, 60 years old, happy married, two children. We have a very beautiful dance school, but it's very subjective. and Yeah, dance fanatic, actually. That's what I can tell about it. Hmm?
Yeah, well,
Yes.
I could not describe it any different tone. I think you're a dance fanatic, but fanatic in a good sense of word. And I do believe you have a very beautiful dance studio. But it is subjective, as you said. That is so true. Ton, just give us a little bit the highlights of your dance career. How did you start? Why did you start? And what are your highs and lows, if you had any?
Yes. My highs are actually that I started with dancing. That was
Yeah.
in 1979, long time
Hmm.
ago.
Wow.
Now it's uh, how many years
What kind of
later?
style? What kind of style of dancing did you do?
The style was the ballroom style,
Hmm.
Latin mainly. And a waltz I learned, a cha cha cha, a rumba. And at that time, you did this with a girl, with two, and you learn then like a quick step, step, cha cha cha, or something like that, side by side. That was actually very nice time. And from there, yeah, this is how I started in '79. 2 years later, I started with a competition. Then, many years later, '87, I was in the highest amateur class, then still competition. And in 1990, I started to dance professional, and 98, I stopped with the professional dancing, and I started in 95 a dance school. So that's actually my career. And after that, I discovered in 2000 hip hop. I like this very much. And a few years later, 2006, the contemporary, because my daughter dances contemporary now. And I started with her contemporary. So she danced in the National Dance Theater, NDT. So, but the listener in America probably who not is going to the theater, so for them will it be unknown.
Yeah. All right. So does that mean that you said goodbye to all the ballroom dancing? Do you have not no longer?
No, I still have a contact with the ballroom world.
Hmm.
Before I was member of one association, they called them WDC, and before that was it IDS,
That's F.
IDSF.
Hmm.
Yeah, but now you have four world organizations, and I'm still not member of one of them. Actually, they're all my family, um, but because they are my family, if you are a member with one of them, you against the other one. So I'm quite neutral now, but then you feel also quite alone. But I have Sean, my friend, on the other side in Dallas, who is also not member anywhere. That we have find yeah, two people, and there are more who doing the same work.
Yeah. Yeah.
together where there are no
Gotcha.
member of anywhere.
Any. Yeah, I have some questions later on about the dance organization for the ballroom specifically. But it's interesting how you went from style to style. You know, everyone who has listened to my interview, that I stuck a little bit more to one dance style. You know, if it comes to that, but studied other things in dancing as well. So that's where we found each other. Interesting thing. But you skipped very quickly, modest as you always are, Tom. You skipped about your highlights, and you know, so
Yes, yes.
and you know, I always like to hear about those things.
Yes, I'm quite modest. Yes, for me, it's not interesting anymore what I did, but what I'm
Hmm.
gonna to do. So my highlights was 5 times 13th place in the professional, in the WDC World Championship, semi-final of the European, finalist of the show dance many years. My highest result was fourth place, but yes, I was 5 times in the final. World Cup third place and Europe World Champion World Cup. Sorry, I was thinking about World Championship and World Cup. There is a difference in it. Not all the main dancers will dance the World Cup, but I was also third in that one. Win the German Open, rising star in England in Blackpool International. These are famous competitions, and international in the final, and the UK also. But for me, this is not interesting anymore. These results, the my lowest point actually was actually when I not could dance, so not competition, but dance in general. And one competition I did very, very bad in Germany with a
From a
professional.
result point of view,
Yes, I was in the kicked out in the first round, and I said to my partner, next year when we go back, that was in '95, we will win that one, and we won it. So I was quite happy that we won it. But that was the highest point, and the year before was the lowest point, if you
from a
could say it like
from
that,
a
in
result.
results. But
Yeah.
anyway, we
Yeah.
can continue, Sean.
Well, I like to give a little bit of context to the listeners to actually don't know so much about competitive dancing. You know, you have competitions on all kind of levels. You know, national and international. And Ton actually has hit all. He has, you know, of course, done all the international competitions in the Netherlands. But more interesting is, of course, the results in the international competitions. And don't forget this, guys. In the time that Ton danced, and I was a very unknown dancer, so for me that's a little bit true too. If you go to a competition like Blackpool, you know there could easily be in the amateurs up to 500-600 couples, you know, doing in one competition. And then in the professionals, when Ton was dancing, if I remember well, that one time when you shaved your head, I think there were a little bit over 300 couples coming into that competition. I remember that still pretty well. So you know, reaching the semi and quarterfinals in those competition is a big thing. And I'm glad that you are modest and don't do that. And you're very famous for always your showcases and your show dancing. That at that time it was called Latin American show dancing, and Ton always made the final of the worlds every year, year after year. So don't be too modest. You and Mary Ann are, you know, definitely people that still inspire a lot of dancers around the world. So that's the only thing that I want to say about it.
Yes,
I have
yes.
another question for
Thank you,
you.
Sean. Yes.
And, you know, we talked a little bit about highlights and lowlights and, and all that kind of thing. Are there any people that inspired you in your career?
Oh, yes, of course. We had Michael Hull in Germany,
Hmm.
who he inspired me by his dance. He did an egg, like an egg, small egg, and then he makes himself very small. He fall, then he open the egg, comes out of the egg. Then he
He
goes
did.
like, I don't know how you say that in Dutch, sudderen. So like yes, and then he switched it, and yeah, that was really funny. And this inspired me that I saw dance from a different perspective.
Yeah.
Yes, that was really, really beautiful. And of course, the people around me now. children, parents, dancers, the videos, because now you have the World Wide Web and you see a lot of that one dancing. And then I see, oh, this is not possible anymore with my body. What it gives a lot of inspiring. And actually, you not have to go to congresses because everything is on the World Wide Web. You can find it there. And if you practice, yeah, you can even imitate that one if your body accept that and can do that.
Yeah, yeah. So in other words, you get your inspiration everywhere. He might not remember it, by the way, but I had some lessons from Michael, and he did a demonstration in a dance studio that I was working in at that time in Os, and he did his famous frying egg dance with a good friend of ours too, by the way, at that time. And it was very funny, but I thought he was definitely an inspiring person from a creativity point of view. That's Okay, that's good. Are there anything where you draw other inspiration from besides people? Is there?
Um, Everything movies. Yesterday I saw a beautiful movie about an artist, a woman, Clarice Cliff,
Mm-hmm.
and oh wow, the colors what she used for her how you say drinking cups and plates and everything. Fantastic, really. And in that time, can you imagine 100 year ago, the women are really not accepted. I'm happy the time are
Yeah.
changing. Still, the women are not on the same level in our society as the men. For me, they are, and in some things, when more women would be a president, then probably you would have less wars. That's what I believe. And yes, anyway, this inspired me a lot when I saw that movie. The color use, the ideas behind it, fantastic. And she had one boss there at that time, 100 years ago. He was eccentric, but accept her how she was. And this helped her because when he was not there, she would have get any place in that factory. So that was really inspiring. And to see that, then I'm really sure what footprint I want left behind. So I want to look what I left behind because this inspired me because she left something behind. Look on the machine and look to her name, Clarice Cliff from England.
All right. Yeah. Good. Good. Yeah.
Portland.
Which
Portland.
brings me then to our next question. If I give you the words dancer, if I say dance coach, if I say dance teacher, if I say dance choreographer, if I say dance researcher, um, how would you put those words to yourself?
Yes, Sean, that's a beautiful question. Of course, I'm a dancer. I was a dancer and I'm still a dancer. And I want
Hmm.
to stay a dancer because dancing is very important for your activity to move, even when you are get an older age. That's my opinion. Then I would say dance trainer because when you explain people something and you repeat that and you repeat that, you get more a trainer. A teacher does the same, but a teacher goes more in the depths and explain the dancer even more background. And he not trained this a lot, but when he repeats it again, he is actually also a trainer. Then I would say so dancer, trainer, teacher, and a coach. It's more behind because when you teach them and you train them and then you coach them, because on the competition, when they go on a competition or in a theater, then you can give them some advices. And the choreographer comes somewhere in between. But now, mainly, I'm a choreographer and a dancer and a teacher, sorry, and a trainer and a coach. So I'm everything. But I know the boxes uh, where I am at that moment. And this is also important to know in which box you are. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I that's what I believe actually, and I I don't know how you think about it, but I think if you specifically talk about dancing, the ballroom dancing, to lift it up to a higher level, we are still relatively young in the development of that. Even in the bigger dance other areas like classical dance or the bigger dance modern dance companies, you have everyone has a different role, right? You have a choreographer, you have a repetitor, as they call it, someone that specifically is there to repeat dance after dance with the company. You have mental coaches, and in our world as the ballroom dance world, you see that some teachers want to do everything, and that
Yes,
I
yes.
think, yeah, does that is that in benefit or not for a dancer? That's my question.
Yeah, I think it's a benefit when you don't have money and the teacher want to help. But of
Yeah,
course,
cool.
yes, but he cannot help in everything because he is not a dietist. You are a specialist in that one. You are
Yeah,
not a mental coach because you not study for it. So he knows from everything a little bit. And a trainer, yes, teacher, yes, but actually what they do mainly, but this is judgment, Sean. They work on the technically skills,
mostly.
and
Yeah,
and then they think they have a lot of experience in the other areas, but that isn't true. And what they are not used to do, again, judgment, is to work together in a team, like a dietist, like a mental coach, like a makeup artist. Work together and try to and work also together with the dancers. And what I would say, keep them on the same level and not make a hierarchy. I'm the dance teacher or they call
yeah,
them also dance teacher. Actually, they are dance trainer, dance coach, dietist, mental coach. They're everything. And I'm not. I'm actually just a dancer who I'm modest again. I'm not that dancer, what you see, who can flip, make, how you say, tricks, and who is very flexible. No,
yeah.
not I. I
Interesting.
am not that one. And even drama teachers, you need that one because there are specialists in all that area. And if you learn to work in a teamwork, then you
Yeah,
get the maximum out of the artist who is performing on that floor. And in many genres, again, it's judgment. From my side, they are not doing that.
yeah.
There are some doing that, and you can also see on the dancers that they're doing this.
Well, yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. Definitely nice. I think that would make a really good episode of a podcast. What are the pros and cons of working with specialists? What is your responsibility as a dancer in that? And it's just a history. We grew up, you and I grew up, one teacher defined it everything for us, what to wear, what to dance, where to dance, and so on. And then you and I grew up and we started to dance, and both you and I have a different view on these things, which is also a judgment, because we don't know if everyone has this view, but we kind of know exactly what role we could play if someone asks for that, which is interesting, I think. All right. Definitely, I would like to talk about your book. And, Ton, I'm just going to introduce that. Ton recently published a book. I have a copy here, but maybe you can keep it up for a moment, right?
I have it also by the side because I
Yeah.
know you're gonna ask that question, so I
Yes.
have it
This is the
here.
English version. The Jam dance for a different perspective. And ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls, whoever is listening, it is now available in both Dutch, English, and German. And I was honored to help Ton with writing that book. But Ton's process of writing the book started way before he and I talked about it. So Ton, can you tell us a little bit? How did you come to the idea to start working on a book? How long did you work on it, and what is it about?
Yeah, interesting question. So, listener, go sit, take something to drink, take a nap from it now, so it will be a long story. No, no, I keep it short. Not short, that short, but it's not to say it in two sentences because I started in 2003 or six to get the first ideas between that one, and I started also around that time. So I worked a long time on it. Why I started? I started because my teachers and trainers use the word technique. I didn't understand. I know the word technique, but what it really meant, I didn't know. Then you have space, time, energy, power, and force is a different word again. Feelings, emotions. I know the words, but what they know really, I have to do a research. So I started with that, and I go very deep in one word because I want to know all about that word. And now I'm happy we have the World Wide Web, so you can find a lot of different areas what it mean, and then you can find some balance in it. And sometimes in the dancing they not use it, you can use that word more and make more context to it for when you explain that word. Then it came like in that time we had a famous teacher in the Netherlands in the ballroom Latin, and a very known teacher. Still, he is very known, and his name was Ruud van Meij. I didn't work with him so much. My partner did, Marianne, when I danced together with her, and he worked from the principles of Laban. So I'm not a Laban expert. Sorry, guys, when you listen now. But there are a few elements what they use, like space, time, weight, energy. Some more elements. I forgot them now, and I didn't want to read it because when I read it, then I will follow that path, and this is not what I wanted. So I know his elements at that time, and I want to find other elements where the comparison is between ballroom, Latin, the what you have more ballet, contemporary, hip hop, etc. So many dance forms, and I was thinking there must be something different than energy. Yes, there is something different. There is the form. Actually, the first element is the person by himself and which form he has, which figure. You can also say shape, what shape and form and design. They have three different words, three different meanings. And from that, I find the comparison form. My first steps, what I learned was say a cha cha cha, step forward, step backward, side by side, cha cha cha, backward, forward, cha cha cha. And in the ballet, you have also figures with names, and these are figures with names, and in hip hop also, who has a name. So they have a form, and you can recognize them on that name. Maybe the interpretation of some dancers will be different. Then I find all the dancers are moving because you want to dance. And then the fourth element was before was emotion, but after many years I changed it to expression because you express actually with your body language, with your gestures, with your facial expression, and with the dynamic what you use between these three, plus the context from what you do before and after. So this will be my elements. So form, dynamic, expression, and the personality. And these are the four elements. And then I'll look to the other art forms like the photography, the how you call that, the architect world, the design world, the what do you have more worlds? The painting world. So I did all this comparison, and in that comparison, I find the elements geometric, organic, symmetric, asymmetric, and singular, composed. And I put these elements in the components what I found. And I needed about 4 or 5 years to find structure for the book. And now I have it. It's really, really interesting now to see because you get more an objective view about dance and with a subjective interpretation. And this is really, really beautiful to recognize the patterns through that tools. And this, I'm so glad that I did that. I put 15,000 hours of research, thousands of friends, and actually with you, Sean, I talked a lot about it and give a lot of new insights in new words, new discoveries, and the holistic view, because holistic, that's also a beautiful word I learned from you, Sean. You see what words can do. The holistic is how they one element needs the other element, and definitely in my book you can find now the most of them. And I'm not finished, so I will continue with it. So I'm so happy, and I use the method also. So that was a quite long story, listeners. Sorry about that. I hope you didn't fall asleep. But anyway,
No, not
Sean.
at all, not at all. I think you know what's so beautiful, Ton, is the enthusiasm that you have still about your book, although it's finished. I think I was when I came across it, the book in 2019 or something, when you and I
Mhm.
started to work together on it. I was captured by it. I personally, if you follow my interview, you saw that I did study some of the other things, and I think Tom brought together on top of all the other things. It's not to replace, not at all. It's a good addition to what's already there. I think it's a unique book and it's not because Tom and I work together. I truly think it's a unique book that looks dance from a different perspective. It can have a lot of follow up. It could be a good base for people who want to teach and learn. And Tom and I would definitely continue this path and creating workbooks on it. Um, the elements form expression and dynamics are very predominant in the book, together with personality. And to explain movement from just only those four elements is sounds like a simple thing, but it is actually to make something so complex as dance, bring it back to those elements, is a beautiful thing to really comprehend and understand how this could work for you. Is, I would say, you pick it up. I have the Dutch version here, and I have the German and the English version as well, of course. Gem, the Greten equation method, that's what it stands for, and happens to be, by the way, also a connection to our podcast, the Dance Gems. Talking about writing a book, Ton, what are your next big steps in writing and development for yourself?
Uh, After so many years to put research in it, I get new insights, and I'm busy with my second book. And my second book will be more things in it like the extroception, interoception, the proprioception, the phenomenology, and these are really expensive words. Sorry, listeners. But proprioception is what you actually, your body awareness, what you feel from the body in space. And I make also from a time. Then you have the interoception, it's what you feel from inside. That's also the proprioception is a part of it. Then you have also the extroception, and these are the sentence what you need, like watching, listening, smelling, taste, how you perceive the world. And this is a combination together. You can also say the phenomenology is what you think and what you feel and how you perceive the world from your body and your thoughts. And really, I want to make a how you say a connection to dance. Very, very interesting. And then I put more video analysis in it. I put non-verbal communication in it. Yeah, I think it's quite interesting now, my new book. So I hope to have it finished end of the year or next year at the latest, that it is also published. And yeah, I'm quite happy to do more research. So this is coming up now. And of course, our podcast, the Dance Gems, we every week we will speak about new things, and sometimes we not know enough about that issue. Then we will ask an expert to our yeah, podcast to speak about it. And very interesting also for you listeners, when I can speak for you, if you not know what it is, search for it, because if you dance, it's very important, I think, to know not just only move and follow somebody, but if you want to have a little bit more from dance, maybe do research, listen to us, and do your own research also. Very important.
Okay, cool. So those are big projects, right? So, writing another book with hopefully the manuscript will be ready the end of this year. Pretty ambitious, I would say. I also know, Tom, that you and I are working on a project that's called Workbooks for the Dance Jam. And hopefully we
Yes.
can, roll it out with some workshops to other dancers. So that will be a good thing. The podcast hopefully grows into something where we can have some add some value to the dancer world by not only giving our own opinion, because that might not always be very interesting, but we would definitely give, shine a light on several topics. It could be something very current, that's actual in the news, or sometimes we look at something from history perspective or from a knowledge perspective. And so ask us also the questions, and we will research it for you if you can do it yourself. That's basically what it is. All right, that's really good, Tom. So tell me, I hear a lot of enthusiasm, and I know you, of course, pretty well by now. So I kind of know the answer. But what motivates you to go day and day to be this dance fanatic, as you call? What motivates you to keep going with something as a dance?
Yeah, motivation is my biggest passion,
Mm-hmm.
because you can dream about it, but if
Mm-hmm.
you nothing do with it, then still it will be a dream. I have it also in the book. So the motivation is, if you want to do something, do it then,
Mm-hmm.
because nobody will do it for you. You can only take the action, and the action will say, if I want to dance with 60 years next year, then I have to motivate myself, because I know how important it is for the future also to be in movement, that you stay in movement. And this motivates me every day, because I want to stay longer on that world. So when I'm 60, I want, when I'm 70, hopefully move like 60. And when I'm
Nice.
80, still I move like 60. But the body, of course, get older, and this gives me the motivation, because I know on the long term,
Mm-hmm.
when I do nothing, nothing will happen, and it will be get worse with my cognitive and with my body. So I want to be trained, and this I keep the motivation by myself, close by myself. And I try also to reflect this to the people who I'm working with. And this is quite a different mindset, because the children have not that motivation what I have, because I know already where I want to go to. So I try to give them context why this motivation is so important.
Yeah, nice, nice. Yeah, we're both very motivated people to, learn still. If you want to teach but you stop learning, you have no business in teaching. That's what we both believe in. You need to keep learning and motivate yourself to do things. Without knowing it, baby, maybe. I said baby, but I didn't mean to say baby. I said maybe. Without knowing it, actually, you actually, touched on some things that Laban actually wrote about, and that is, in the end, it has a lot to do with action and how you do your action, right? So those two things are very predominant in most people who write about dancing. What are your actions, and how do you do your actions? Which I think is always a joy to watch how you take big life. If there is one thing you you want to do in the dance world, and you started with it, is to know that the world, the dance world of ballroom dancing, seem to be very divided at the moment, which you both and I believe that that's not good for the dancers. What would you like to see in that world to change?
Um, Actually, when you look to all the whole dance world, then I see boxes, and these boxes are not
Hmm.
connected. Of
Hmm.
course, they influence each other, but more from the unconscious.
Hmm.
And when I look to my dance world, where I'm coming from, this is the ballroom world. We
Hmm.
have four world organizations. Um, I think they'll live still in the past. It's prehistoric. Sorry, guys, when you listen to me, but it's important that dance has to be the first priority and not sometimes the power game. What I feel in this organization, and these organizations actually, it's also very positive that they are there, because when we have four organizations, we have probably also four different formats, and maybe they bring each other on a different level to organize, say, a better competition or more beautiful competition than the other one. Maybe the other one gives more a little bit context behind the judging. Maybe I think they have to look more to the future, how they want to bring a product to the dancers who are at that moment compete in our world. So what I want to give to them is think more ahead, think about quality, what you want to bring to the dancers, and help them to make a better human being also, or to improve that as a human being. Because if you improve as a dancer, you improve also as a human being, and vice versa. And mostly it isn't like that. So I think this world organization need also to write a book. This I would give them as advice, and then how you say, revise it every year. That would
I
be my advice. And please communicate to the dancers. And very important for this organization. So I point now a finger. That's not polite, but I will do it. It's like the dancers and the organizations are on the same level. Don't think that dancers are on that level. No,
lower
they are on
level.
the same level.
Yeah.
So, and when they are not on the same level, I think reflect more to yourself and look to yourself. So
Yeah.
this is why I pointed that finger. But actually, more polite is to put it like
Yeah.
that.
No, you and I are struggling with it because we try to be neutral, but sometimes if you're neutral, you cannot achieve anything either, because then you don't belong anywhere. But Ton and I think about this the same. The organization actually should always be there in service of the dancer, and it feels true or not true. You can hate us for us if we say it or point a finger back to us, but if you think about it, when we point the finger, they're always pointing at least three fingers back to ourselves. So we are very critical to ourselves too. Is the organizations, and are in service, should be in service of the dancers, and it feels sometimes that's almost the other way around, where organizations are made for the organizations themselves. Now, I know some people with the best interest try to do it differently, but they also have to be very critical if they already achieve what they do. So, anyhow, a pretty interesting point. Again, something that we want to do maybe in another podcast more in detail, but I know it's something that occupies our mind. Last but not least, because we are at the end of this interview, is there anything that I should have asked you, and that I no, actually, maybe I have two questions. So I'm asking them at the same time. Is there anything that I should have asked you and I didn't ask? And then the last question really would be, where do you see yourself in, let's say, 5, 10 years from now? So that's
In 5 years, you said,
yeah,
Sean?
yeah.
Yeah, in 5 years, where I want to be, I want to have my second book ready
Mm-hmm.
in three languages: English, German, and Dutch.
Dutch.
I want an audiobook also. I want them finished in all three because I'm busy already with that one. I want that our podcast still exists. I want also, very selfish, that our workbook will be also ready. I want that we have projects together in somewhere in the Netherlands or outside the Netherlands, giving not only workshops but also lectures. I want to be healthy, so I'm working on that. This is what me drives every day, the motivation, because I know that I have less before than what I had. So, or I must get 120 years old. That would be nice, but still, I need the motivation to practice every day. So this is where I want to be in 5 years. Maybe I'm retired then. I don't know, and I can even work more with dance from a flexible, how you say, bus. And I'm somewhere in the south of France, and we do this podcast there.
That would be
That
nice.
would be super. Yes, and what you didn't ask, actually, you asked everything, Sean. I'm quite happy. You could ask me, "Are you happy?" Yes, but I think this was your first question. No, I'm quite happy. I want even what you didn't ask. No, you asked actually everything. Where I want to be in 5 years, I want also to connect the schools and the academies. How you say that? Academy
Academies.
for
Academies.
ballet and for contemporary and for hip hop you have in the lower degree and in the high degree. And if I could bring them a little bit together in the thoughts where I'm thinking in, yes, they get a lot of value and a lot of experience from us. Yeah, and in 5 years, where I want to be is what I just told, and another thing where I hope that all these dance, how you say, associations in the theater, the art world, that they get more, a little bit more fusion and learn from each other. But this process started already in our country. But I think they are still not far enough, because it's also a money question. And our government, you didn't ask me that one. What you think about the government about dance? And this is where I want to have a podcast with you. So this was it, Sean. I'm ready, finished, and thank you very much for the interview.
Very good, very good. Well, a lot of ambition, of course, on both our sides, and that's also a good launch of the podcast Dance Jams. We still are very ambitious. We're not the youngest anymore, but we definitely have a lot of ambition and try to give a lot back of what we know and what we have learned. So this was another episode of Dance Jams, the interview with Ton Greten, my good friend and buddy. We'll see you back very
See,
soon in another podcast. And then
yeah.
we always say bye bye.
Bye bye.